translate depending on the industry or the company that you're in. But I think the very generic ones that I would say is, see, because this whole world is, leading or driving towards a path of getting automated, data is very important and relevant at this point. So one thing that you really need to understand, or have a good understanding, is how data works. Even though, I know you do not have to dive too much deep into data. It's very basic. Data is just information, and just processed information. You need to. So whenever if you see an Excel with lots of numbers and everything, I think you just need to understand the patterns in it, or how how it translates to a problem. Like Astha mentioned earlier, that if your numbers are going down, your sales in a particular area might not be going up as expected. So my first suggestion would be to be able to understand data and understand the logic behind how you could translate it to a problem statement. Because once you determine what your problem is, I think you would be way better able to solve it. And secondly, after that, because my work does not have a lot of technicalities related to it, but I would suggest that you might want to have experience in SQL. And I'll tell you why. Because so if I were to say this in a very simple language as to what skills and certifications or whatever you need to have, just go on to look at 10 to 15 job descriptions that really excites you. Okay, list down all the hard skills that are required from there, and you just work on those, because every role would require you to have different set of skills. So if you were to get into my role, you need to have a better understanding of the foreign exchange market, how the money market works, how derivatives work. But I am pretty sure this would never be used to the other two panelists over here, or maybe not right now. So the first thing I think you should do is check what roles you are interested into, and list down all the hard skills that are required over there, and then work on those. There's a bunch of ways I think you can pursue it, and of course only the academic knowledge is not enough to land you a job. And so yeah, I think this is what the hard skills I would like to you to focus on. And secondly, to get into any role, right? Be it in a financial service company like Barclays, or a startup or anything, you need to have good people skills. So I'm going to list down some of those. So first is networking, because a very live example of that is all of us in this panel. We were contacted by Nikhar on via networking only on LinkedIn. So I think that is one of the reasons. So this could help you to contact people who are at better positions, who are also looking for someone to fill in a role, and you might be the best fit, and just someone has not approached them only. So I think that is one thing, you should be able to network better. And second thing, in your people skills, I think the ability to explain yourself in very layman language, because sometimes what happens is you have this whole cloud in your mind, and there's tons of things, but if you're not able to communicate better, I think your point would never go across. And even if you're 100-200% right, maybe that would just not end up giving you the results that you want. So I think there are a bunch of hard skills that you could look at and work on, but your soft skills are just as much important, because you might not know SQL or have hands-on experience in Python, Jira, or any of these technical things. But once you get an interview, you can convince the employer that you are willing to learn, and you have some sort of experience, and you're trying to get certifications in it, getting practices on that. So I think you can always convince the employer that you have a strong determination and will to get that done. And I think that is more important than having those sorry, I think I should not have said that, but I think you can still convince someone even if you do not have the skills when you have the intent of learning.
Two things here. First, I think not every interviewer will judge you on the basis of your hard skills. Like, for example, even if I take interviews and there's an SQL test prepared for a particular round, I necessarily don't look at how this SQL has been written or how the code has been written. I try to, analyze whether the logic is correct in that particular code. It could be a possibility that syntax is incorrect, which is fine because not everybody might be, well experienced in that particular skill. But you should always concentrate on logic building capabilities. Second thing is that even if you don't, you pass an interview, you get into a company, now you are completely confused as to what to do. Like how should I, improve my hard skill or soft skill? The only thing you need to know is you should ask the right question to right person. I think that is the most important thing that I've realized in my career, that asking questions to the correct person is a way out. If you're stuck with a SQL problem, your people, inside your team who are your mentors or who are your seniors, they'll help you out. If you are, have problems in identifying a pattern, like, how to develop insights from a particular data, you can talk to your seniors or people who have, previously worked on it, something like that. So that can help you, grow faster in your company and maybe, take good decisions or, complete work on time, everything can be sorted out. But you need to ask questions. I've seen a lot of people who think that how will I do it, they don't talk about it. So I think best solution is to ask questions.
Two things from me, Nikhar. I think the first thing being learner's mindset. I think you should always go into a problem or a situation thinking that you're going to learn something out of it, and that goes in both soft skills and hard skills, right? So if I'm in a situation where I only know Python and they need something else, I should be ready to learn that new skill set that I would require in order to solve that. And I think that's something that has helped me immensely to make those career moves as well. So I was a business analyst earlier and I moved to product because I just wanted to learn how product management works, and I think that's something that definitely helps in a business analyst role as well. Just always being willing to learn something you don't know, and if you don't know it, it's absolutely okay to say that you don't know it. And I think that's something that I learned very early on in my career, and I was also encouraged very early on to just say that, pick up my hand and say, excuse me, I don't understand what you're saying, please repeat it for me. So never hesitate to call out when you don't understand something, and never hesitate to learn a new skill, because I think there's nothing that can go wrong if you learn something new, right? So I think that would be the first thing. And the second thing was be the bigger picture, right? So when you're working on a project, it's always better to zoom out and to have a lens that makes you look at what the impact would be on a wider scale, right? So maybe I'm using a single product in Shell. Maybe I'm just working on maybe like an oil and gas application that I have on my phone when you go to fuel your car at a retail station. What impact is that going to have on Shell? What kind of money is that going to bring to Shell? What kind of value is it going to bring the brand that I work for, right? So always zooming out and looking at, okay, I'm doing this on a daily basis. I'm looking at this application, fine. I'm making my developers work on it. But what value am I adding overall to the bottom line of the company? So I think these two things would definitely be, first thing is, it's never too late to learn. Always pick up your hand and ask questions when you want to. And second thing is, that always look at the bigger picture. There is just so much going on, and when you realize the kind of impact you're having on the wider organization, it just makes your work more exciting. So I think these are two things that I'd like to highlight and add on.